Alleluia, Christ is risen. The Lord is risen indeed. Alleluia. This Sunday, along with being the fourth Sunday of Easter, is also commonly known as Good Shepherd Sunday. This is due to the gospel reading assigned for today from John that talks about Jesus as the Good Shepherd. Ironically, the part we didn't actually hear today was Jesus saying, "I am the Good Shepherd." That comes right after what we read. Nevertheless, I think we can still hear echoes of the image of the Good Shepherd throughout our reading. God is both knowable and unknowable, one of the strange, wonderful claims made by Christians. Because of this, through the ages, the people of God have found that they have needed to use their imaginations to even begin to wonder about the glory of God. They have connected what is unknowable and indescribable to what is everyday and known. And so the scriptures are full of metaphor, stories, and poetry to this effect, as are the works of the artists, theologians, musicians, mystics, and poets from our tradition. To this day, people continue to be moved by, explore, and play with these ancient and modern images. God the potter, the parent, the builder, the farmer, the king. God, a mighty tree, a rock, a strong fortress, and a burning fire. I wonder what your favorite image of God is. Which one connects with you? Which one helps you grasp, even if just for a moment, the nature of the divine? Because that is what all these images are about, connecting with some truth about who God is and what God is like. One of the most beautiful and enduring images of the divine is the one that we are reminded of especially today: God the Shepherd. We see how popular and long-lasting it is in the small cross-section of the readings that we have for today. Psalm 23, a psalm that has comforted and touched the hearts of countless people through the millennia, with the image of God as a shepherd. God as my shepherd. Centuries later, this image is again used in 1 Peter. You were going astray like sheep, it says, but now you have returned to the shepherd and guardian of your souls. I wonder what this beautiful, reoccurring image of the shepherd reminds us about the divine. What does it tell us about who God is and what God is like? Well, the shepherd cares for the sheep. The shepherd guides, guards, and protects their sheep. The shepherd stays with the sheep no matter what, even through the valley of the shadow of death. When they stray, the shepherd seeks out and gathers up their lost sheep. In our gospel today, Jesus continues to play with this familiar image of a shepherd. And his contribution to this collective imagination is that the shepherd, the good shepherd, calls his own sheep by name and leads them out, and that the sheep know his voice. The shepherd knows the sheep by name, and the sheep know his voice. I wonder how that makes you feel. It makes me shiver a little bit. There is something in this beyond just the words that resonates deep within my heart. They know his voice. When I hear this, I wonder what this might be telling us about who God is, what this might be telling us about what Jesus is like. As I enter into this wondering, I imagine that if the shepherd calls each by name, if the sheep know his voice, then that means that the shepherd has really put in the time, has done the work to get to know those sheep, to learn each of their names, to have them know his voice. I imagine that the sheep really matter to that shepherd, that the shepherd is devoted to them. The shepherd is devoted to the sheep. And so I wonder if this is what God is like, if this is who Jesus is. Today, along with being the fourth Sunday of Easter, along with being Good Shepherd Sunday, is also the World Day of Prayer for Vocations, a day marked in many Anglican, Lutheran, and Roman Catholic churches. And typically, when we talk about the Day of Prayer for Vocations, we focus on those people whose vocations are religious life or ordained ministry. And these vocations are so important. I am so grateful for my own vocation as an ordained member in the church. And so we should pray for those who are discerning this call. And we should give thanks that God continues to raise up people to serve in this way. However, vocation is so much bigger than just religious life and ordination. Vocation simply means to call. And in this sense, each of us has a vocation, perhaps even more than one, because God, the Good Shepherd, calls us to follow and serve in a great diversity of ways. The theologian Frederick Buechner wrote about vocation that it is the place where our deep gladness meets the world's deep need. Where our deep gladness meets the world's deep need. And Jesus said, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. What is your deep gladness? Where do you see the world's deep need? Where do these things meet for you? Where does Christ call you into abundant life? Maybe your job is your vocation, and maybe it isn't. Maybe part of your vocation is being a parent or grandparent or friend, partner, or neighbor. Maybe it has to do with learning or teaching, maybe building up what needs to be built up or tearing down what needs to be torn down. The possibilities are truly endless. Whatever it is, I hope that you have an opportunity to spend some time wondering about and exploring your vocation, asking what it means to go where God is calling you, what it looks like to follow Jesus into service and abundant life. In our reading from Acts today, I think it describes some people who found their vocations. We hear that the fledgling Christian community devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and fellowship, to the breaking of bread and prayers. They devoted themselves. I think that our vocation might be whatever it is that we find ourselves devoting to. Those patterns actions and relationships that are so energizing that they bring life to you and to the world around you. And I think that if this way, when we follow our calling, when we are able to lean into our vocations, devoting ourselves to where our deep gladness and the world's needs meet, we are most closely following Jesus. We are most faithfully echoing the example of God, the Good Shepherd, who is devoted to us. Thanks be to God.